Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Heavy Thoughts. I'm Peter Pinto.
And I'm Jennifer Davis.
And I'm BreAnnas Doré with FitLife Fusion.
Our special guest today. So today we just actually got finished with BreAnna's first ever stop on her fitness tour, promoting her new app online. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and we wanted to get a little bit into BreAnna, who has really just had a lot of success in the field of fitness. She has close to 100,000 followers on Instagram. We connected just last week and talked about doing this event here, and boom, we just made it happen.
Yeah.
So I just thought we could start off by asking you, BreAnna, just tell us a little bit about you, just how you got started with fitness, and then how it has evolved into you having your own app and hundreds of thousands of people
Awesome.
with their eyes on you.
Right. So basically, again, my name is BreAnna Doré, and I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. So I started my fitness journey back when I was in college. I was a freshman in college, and I had actually experienced, a personal story with my father. He passed away from a heart attack. And when that happened, it really hit me hard, and I didn't really know how to, cope with the pain. So I started working out, and I found that strength through working out. And before you knew it, I was posting all of my workouts on Instagram and, Facebook and all of my social media platforms. From there, I started seeing these people were reposting it. And then before I knew it, I had a lot of women from all over the world just saying how my video motivated them to keep going. And that's what motivated me to launch the app.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool, right?
Thank you. Yeah.
That's the
Making an
the
impact.
feeling, right? The making an impact. But you also have it's a pretty powerful story, considering, it's not just the death of a loved one, but it's the death of your father, right?
Exactly.
And I have an 8-year-old daughter, and I, couldn't imagine having to go through, something like that, or having her go through something like that.
Right.
But, the story of going through something like depression,
Right.
and we work with so many people who deal with stuff like that. How was fitness the tool for you to help you get out of that?
Right. So as you mentioned, depression, that's exactly the state that I was in during that time. And it probably took me about a good 4 years to actually get out of that phase. It was a really dark place I was in. I really just felt like giving up on everything. And, when you experience something like that, you never know how you're going to react to it. And what made it happen for me was fitness just made me feel stronger, because when I was in that depressed state, I was just feeling really weak. So when I worked out, I felt stronger. It allowed me to take my mind off of things. I wasn't, depressed when I was in the gym. And so I just kept it going, and it was just a good feeling. And that's really what it was about for me. And I wanted to also share that with the world and share that with other people, because the one thing that hit home for me is I had a young lady from Ghana. She emailed me one day, and she said, because of your post, I decided that, life is still worth living.
Oh.
So that hit me like, I'm not the only
That's
person
pretty, yeah.
that
That's
was
pretty big.
depressed because of a loved one. I have a picture right now. I just had a young lady on Snapchat just 2 days ago. She sent me a message and said that she lost her mom, and she don't think she can go on any longer. So stories like that and people that message me, things like that, that's really what inspires me to keep going. Because I'm not going to lie, I have my days where I'm like, oh, I don't feel like going to the gym. But then I think about the people that follow me. And so I say, I have a platform out there. It's bigger than just me now, and I have to keep going.
Yeah. So, the platform that you have now is pretty big. And like you said, it's really cool getting people on Snapchat and Instagram who reach out and just like, you've changed my life. Or they can confide in you to give you, to say, hey, I'm going through this really tough time in my life right now. And they look to you for some of that. That's really powerful.
Yeah, it is.
Now on the other end of it too, with tens of thousands of followers, and a relatively short time, you said, right?
Right. It was roughly a couple months
Yeah.
that got it going.
Do you also deal with the trolls and the haters from your story too? Usually you have a big following like that. What's that like?
Absolutely. You're going to deal with both ends. You have the pros and you have the cons. And like you said, you're going to have some people who may not agree with what I'm doing. You have people that don't feel like somebody may have worked for, their image and things like that, or maybe they may be doing it for the wrong reason. But I always think on a positive note. No matter what negative content is coming in, I'm always thinking positive. So if this person's saying something negative, I'm not going to, strike back and say something negative in response. I'm just going to say, I appreciate your opinion. And, you never know what people are going through.
Right.
Maybe they're going through something personal. Maybe that's why they said what they said, So I don't really feed into negative energy. I'm all about positive. And if you, look at my page and my posts, I may post a picture, but there's always a message behind it, always to inspire and motivate.
Yeah. So, just to give you a little story too, because
Yeah.
we were on Periscope, right in the beginning when Periscope was just making it, and we had so much, right? Jen, I think they thought that Jen's post had hashtag show boobs in it. That's all of it. You know what I mean? It's
What?
it was really hard on live video
Yeah.
To get through that.
Yeah, because you do a lot of live video, right?
I do.
So when you do your live video, what are you trying, what's your plan with live video? What are you trying to achieve when you go on live?
So the difference with live is more about interaction. So when I go live, people actually have the opportunity to ask questions, and I can immediately respond to them. Like if I post a video or a picture on Instagram and somebody comments, typically with my schedule, it takes me maybe a couple of days to respond, but going live, I can actually go through the actual topics that you want to discuss, and maybe I can show you right then and there how to do a proper exercise. So that's what live is all about. It's all about the client interaction with your followers as well.
Yeah. So, just to head back to talking about the depression thing again.
Right.
Now, have you worked with a lot of people one-on-one also? Or is it mostly in larger group and online?
Right. It's mostly online and in larger groups. I don't offer personal training.
Yeah.
I want to be considered more of a virtual trainer.
Yeah.
That way I reach a larger audience. And mainly because of my schedule as well. And I have clients, they're all over the world. And I have a field of clients that are just all over, and mainly they focus on online training, and it benefits them.
Yeah.
I create a plan, I create a meal plan for them, and I talk to them every week. We also FaceTime, so we still keep that personal interaction going.
Jen and I work with people with, just all kinds of issues, right? From depression, anxiety, to right down to neurological illnesses and whatever have you, metabolic syndromes. And because there are so many things that contribute to it, depression is a pretty hard case to crack for a lot of people, and things can be so individual.
Right.
What for somebody who's experienced, because I don't know about you, Jen. I can't really say that I've necessarily experienced deep depression myself, but I hear when people talk about it that it's
Debilitating.
It really is. It's debilitating.
It really is.
So what kind of advice, or what do you do personally from a virtual trainer standpoint to help those who are coming to you and saying, hey, I'm going through one of the most difficult times in my life. What do I do?
Yeah, mainly what I do is I try to think outside the box, and I put myself in their position because I once was there. And so what helps them a lot of times, I feel like, is when I share my personal story, and I also share, I know how you feel, and this is how you're feeling right now, but you can get through it. And I always look at situations as, no matter if it's an illness or, a personal side of because of your family, everything is temporary, that you go through. Any setback or hardship is only temporary. And that's one of the things that helps me, like when I still go through things today, it's only temporary. I'm going to get through it. And when I get through it, I'm going to look back on it and say I made it through, and I can help someone else.
Right.
So I try to remind people when they are at that stage, just think about months from now or weeks from now. You're going to look back and you're going to say, I remember when I thought I was going to give up on life and everything, but I made it through. And sometimes they think about it from a long-term perspective, and they go, yeah, I can push forward.
Yeah. Jen and I, we work with, like I said, we work with these people, and we have this very in-depth nutrition plan.
Yeah.
And we're always working and coaching on helping people form their own diets. Now, you said that you also put the meal plans together.
Right.
How important would you say, and this is a loaded question, right? But how important would you say nutrition is when it comes to helping something like anxiety or depression? And stuff
Oh,
like
yes. It is extremely important. Like I say, with anything,
Pay attention.
diet
Yeah.
or mental, it's about 80% of the journey.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Like I noticed, just to tell you a personal story with me.
Mhm.
I didn't tell you all this earlier, but one day I was at work just last year, right? And I started to feel like just these really rapid heartbeats, and it was just like pounding, and I'm just sitting there typing, and I was scared for my life. So I ended up leaving work, and I went to see a cardiologist, and they ran all these tests, and they mentioned that we don't know what's going on with you. And you know, my father, passed from a heart attack, so that
Oh, wow.
freaked
So
me
that's
out.
right.
And
Oh, so
I'm like,
it's- oh my God,
right?
yeah,
I'm like,
like-
what is going on? And it went on for about weeks, and then he ended up bringing in another cardiologist to run tests as well. You know what he said? I don't know what's wrong. So at that time, I'm freaking out.
Doctors love saying that.
Never.
Well,
Actually,
I'm saying it,
they
so
hate
they
to
can
say
keep
it.
paying,
They hate to
right?
say it, but that's at the end of the day.
Yeah.
In many respects, like, oh, yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, we can't really tell. We have a
Exactly.
syndrome for it, though. I think.
It was scary.
Yeah. No,
and
no,
then
I
the
get it.
last thing that he said was, the one thing that you do not want to be in the medical field is interesting, and you are interesting.
Oh, sweet.
And he came back in and said, for the rest of your life, you're going to have to take 4 different medications. And I looked at him and I told him, I'm sorry, but this is not the route I'm going to take. And I started doing holistic research, holistic meals and holistic science. And I learned that a lot of the things that happen with our body is all due to the foods that we eat. So you know what I did? I changed my diet. And guess what? I don't experience that anymore.
Guess what? Yeah.
So diet is
Is that
really
all you said to
important.
that? Let's be honest. Is that all you said to the doctor? Okay. I'm
Seriously.
sorry, but I'm not doing
That's
it.
not going to work for
It's
me.
not going to work. Try it with someone else.
I think
That's
she
not
might
how a
just be-
doctor's visit would go with me.
She might just be nicer
You know what,
than we
Doc?
are.
Y'all from the South.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. See, I'm not from the South. If you haven't figured that out, right? Yeah, I'm not from the South.
Right.
Yeah. Nobody. You hear that? Hey, Doc, you hear that story about the doctor they found
That's
dead?
so funny. The Boston guy.
That's right. Well, yeah. That's the warning that we have to give everybody if they're going to be on the show. That they're dealing with an Italian straight out of Boston. So I hold back the F-bombs all the time. I do it.
You do not hold back.
I do.
He's lying.
Yeah, you just hold back.
That's not true at all. Look, we have studio audience here who's like, no, not at all.
That's
So
hilarious.
anyway,
Yeah.
so tell us more about the app.
Yes.
And from a fitness perspective, because it's something that I've always wanted to dabble in. Because being here, we work with people one-on-one, and it's right there, and we can hold their attention. And we know, especially now in this age of technology, when you're providing something online, the convenience is they can get to it whenever they want to, right?
Right.
So it's on their time, which is a convenient thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the big struggle of being a fitness professional is we are on your time, we're on their time.
Exactly.
So a lot of the time, they just never get there. So how do you get people to first of all get there, right? How do they say I want to download her app, and then what is it about that virtual training that ends up being effective for your clients?
Right. So the first question about how do I get people there, mainly it's through their journey, okay? So what I always look at is everybody has a set goal for a target date that they want to reach their fitness goal, right? But the issue typically is because they don't remain consistent. Maybe
yeah.
something happens in their
Big time.
life, they have a personal issue, just whatever. Something happens to where they fall off of their goal. So what I started was a complacent challenge, and it's where you accept the fact that you're complacent where you are, and you are going to decide to move forward.
I think
I
I
like
saw that.
that.
Was it hashtag
Yeah.
complacent challenge?
Hashtag complacent challenge.
Okay, yeah,
Correct.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
had some people all over, and they basically will take a picture how they look now. Then they'll take another picture, but they'll keep it black, and they'll put a target date. That way, you're setting a target date for yourself to reach this goal, and you're
Yeah.
no longer
Yeah.
going to accept the fact of being in a complacent state of mind. And
That's
with
cool.
that, I take that and I also integrate it with my mobile app, saying you've already taken this step forward, saying I'm not going to be complacent, but you need that motivation. And what's
Right.
that motivation? My app, because I have workouts, and the good thing about it, you have push notifications. You mentioned how do
Okay,
you get
yeah,
people
right.
consistent. So the push notifications it reminds you, hey, don't forget the workout today. Hey, BreAnna's new workout just came out. Hey, do this workout. So that's what the push notifications help with.
Yeah.
That's how I get them
I
there.
was thinking of push notifications like with the voice, like, hey, come on and do it.
Oh
Hey,
my
come on.
goodness.
Right?
I
You know,
love
I
that.
mean, you know, for me, it'd be like, hey, don't be an asshole. Right? That's the Peter Pinto app right there. That's the push notification you get.
Wake up. Right. I love that.
That's a work.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I bring that up because it's a struggle. It's something that Jen and I talk about from a neurological standpoint all the time. Compliance, right? Or just getting people to stay consistent, or getting people to understand that they might not be motivated all the time to do the things that they need to do in order to get the results they want. So it's just,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I like about that too is because it's forcing people to be honest with themselves.
Exactly.
You know, they're like, oh, I'm not complacent.
calling it the complacent challenge,
Yeah,
right?
I'm
Right.
fine.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and no, you're not, or you'd be moving. So
Exactly.
the first step is being honest with yourself, recognizing your limitations, and the changes that you need to make. So that's actually really good.
Yeah,
That's
I
good.
agree. Thank you. And then to answer your second question about virtual training, the benefits of the virtual training is, for me, a lot of my clients that are online, they are like business savvy. Maybe they are moms that have a lot of kids and they don't have time to work out or go to the gym. So the virtual training comes into place for those who want to work out at home.
Okay.
And
cool.
they just want to focus on, bettering themselves, even though they don't have time for a gym membership. Also, I have a lot of college students. They can afford memberships. So they can do these workouts in their dorms and things like that. So that's what the benefit
That's
is
cool.
for me.
Yeah. So I have another question, because
Yeah.
this is a question that whenever we have a guest on the show,
Yeah.
one of the heaviest thoughts is this idea of fit versus healthy now, right? Because what you have out there, and something that we are always talking to our members here about, is there's a difference for being like super fit and lean versus how lean a person needs to be in order to at least just lead a healthy life.
Yeah.
Right? And so one of the things that people come at us about is like, oh, you're like anti-abs, or you're anti-this or that. And it's like, no, it's not necessarily about that. So just to give you the rundown of how we look at it, and then I'd like to hear what your thoughts on it are, is a lot of, like, let's say you have these mothers of three, and they're so like set on having this, curvy, really super lean body, and it might be so stressful on them to try to achieve that they might just have their goals a little bit offset to where they don't need to focus on being as that lean or focus on looking a certain way in order to lead a healthy and happy life. So we always try to prioritize by saying, look, get out of pain, move well, exercise, focus on being happy, focus on having all the things that lead to an enjoyable life, and then you can shape yourself into how you want to look to any extent.
Exactly.
But at that point, we look at it as like, well, that's kind of a sport now, right? A sport is not always conducive to your health, right? Like boxing, you'll get a great body out of it, but you're getting punched in the face for a living. So it's just a little stressful on the body. And getting sub 10% is, in body fat, that can be super stressful on a person.
Exactly.
So that's our take. So I didn't want to just, I wanted to throw that out into the light.
Yeah.
But what's your take on that?
Yeah, I actually completely agree with you both, because I honestly believe that this entire journey is 100% mental. Although we did talk about the diet, of course that's a key component, as well as the exercise, but if your mind isn't in the right place, you're never going to reach your goal. Even when I was in my depressed state of mind, I physically looked fit. Everybody said, oh, you look great, but mentally I was not fit. It's all in the mind. So I definitely agree with you.
And, people need to hear that.
Yeah, it's
People
all
really need to
about,
hear that.
yes, you should be internally happy with yourself. And like I said, once you accept that, then you can get anybody that you want. You can reach any goal that you want because your mind is there. Your mind is going to tell your body what to do. It's not the other way around.
Yeah. You know, something that really made me like what you were about. And I didn't tell you about this, Jen, but when we were talking on the phone, part of BreAnnas' story, when she said, you know, I went into a deep depression and fitness was my way out. And the cool part of that story is when you said, and I gained 40 pounds. And I was like, everybody usually wants to hear how much weight you've lost because you got into fitness. And then because I was fit, I was happy. It's not. It's very backwards nowadays because they look at the smiling face on the cover of whatever fitness magazine and they're like, that's how I want to look because that's going to make me happy.
Yes, that is so true.
You know?
I cannot even elaborate enough. Like the most depressing times, you know, not even discussing my father, was just my weight. It took me all throughout high school. A lot of people didn't understand. When you are really, really thin and it's really hard for you to gain weight, you know, when you're going through that stage where all the boys are attracted to the girls and all that stuff, like I went through that phase where I didn't feel beautiful. I didn't feel, you know, sexy because I didn't have the natural curves and things like that. I was just really, really slim. And that's just genetics.
Right. Because
you know?
thick fit is what's in.
Thick fit is in, right?
Yeah. Hashtag thick fit.
And
Hashtag thick
you
fit.
don't even understand like
Yeah.
how many girls all around the world experience the same thing. Like I actually talk to women on a daily that mentally drive themselves crazy because all they want to do is be thick fit. All they want is that curvy shape because when you turn on the TV, that's the look. If you look at, you know, who's popular, the celebrities, that's the look. It's the curvy look. But, I mean, it can be stressful both ends because, like you said, most people see it as it's all about losing weight. But no, there is another side to it. You have a number of people who are also trying to gain and put on muscle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't necessarily think thick fit is any better than any of these other things. Like, you know, I mean, what are some of the other ones that are like some of those other catchphrases that are based around skinny? You know, there are so many hashtags.
There's so many. You have slim curve, thick fit, fit thick. I don't even know.
Yeah, and then, but really, it's just it's kind of. Although I think thick fit is the coolest of them all, personally, but it's just again kind of just another ideal that people kind of either get attracted to, and then are constantly trying to push themselves toward, and not always in a good way getting there.
Exactly, and that's why on my page, like, although I'm all about thick fit, you know, I personally, that's just my personal goal. But not everybody has that look and that image, and not everybody is going to look like that. So I'll also try to, you know, encourage other people. If you don't have that shape, it's okay. Just love yourself. You know, just be the best version of you.
Right.
That's all it's about.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking.
That's what I'm thinking.
I know. Seriously, I mean, look, at the end of the day, and that's something I say all the time, at the end of the day, when you're thinking long term, right, what is it that's going to make you happy?
Yeah.
If at least you cover those bases first of all the ways you want to feel, right, and then you can go and try to achieve, because we talk about metabolism all the time here. It's so important to make sure that your metabolism is functioning the way it should be, the way it's designed to be, and if it's not, then what ends up happening is you have people always kind of behind the eight ball trying to always catch up to either lose weight, and then it creates this yo-yo situation. It creates a lot of health issues, right? This entire epidemic of thyroid problems. It's just, you know.
So true.
Yeah. So the people that do join your app and work with you, what are generally their goals?
Yeah, so typically it's like half and half. I have a number of women that are trying to gain weight, and then I have a number that are trying to lose weight. A lot of my younger women are the ones that are trying to gain, and it's because they were at that stage that I was in, you know, your teens, you know, early 20s, you want the curvy look. And so I have two different, you know, meal plans and two different type of workouts that would cater to both crowds. And I also have men on there that also trying to gain weight. You'd be surprised. There are a lot of men that are really slim, and they want to put on muscle. They want the, you know, the big upper body and, you know, the large calves. And it's really hard to put on for a lot of people. Yeah, they want to look like you.
She said the large calves. I was just adjusting.
Yeah. That's his pose,
Yeah.
right?
That's the pose.
That's the pose.
So I think that's it. I think we can cap it right there.
Awesome.
So I just wanted to say we're really fortunate to have met you online on Instagram, and why don't you tell everybody just where they can follow you, where you're most active.
Yes, so please, you can follow me on Instagram. That's where I'm most active at Fitness Dore. You can follow me on my website as well as fitnessdore.com. And the app, make sure you go and download it. It's available on both iPhone and Android. Just type in Fitness Dore. Thank you.
Cool. All right, and again, it was awesome having you here.
Yes.
We were the first stop, number one, y'all. First stop for the Fitness Dore tour. And
It was
again,
a fun workout. We had
just
a lot of
really appreciate you coming in.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody enjoyed it. You can
I
just tell.
enjoyed it.
So
Thank y'all.
again, my name's Peter Pinto,
And I'm Jennifer Davis.
and this is.
BreAnna Doré with Fitness Doré.
Hopefully, we left you with again some heavy thoughts. We'll see you next week.